Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. If you haven't seen the recent video where I predicted the West, please go watch that as well, because you're here to predict the West. You're here to predict the entire final standings of the Western Conference in the NHL, as well as the playoffs, all the way to the Stanley Cup Final.
I am.
I'm excited to hear your predictions.
I was excited to hear yours.
I don't know who you've chosen. That's kind of the whole point, so we can just have a live reaction, I guess.
And, you know, we did this totally independent of each other. We even did it a different way.
Yep.
So I tried to make my list a little more like Neil's list after I did it. But I factored in things that, you know, we just don't know about yet. Some of these teams are landing in the playoffs with $15 million of cap space.
Oh, yeah,
playoffs into the regular season with $15 million of cap space. They're not done.
No.
And, you know, we got some players that are still on the injured reserve list. They're not officially showing up in the NHL stats yet because the season isn't underway, but we know that they're injured. So I've, you know, tried to account for that as well, and some of the non-tangibles. Like this list is obviously going to be wrong. The teams will prove both of us wrong when this is all over with, because there will be injuries.
Oh, totally.
There will be crises. There will be personality things, and there will be God knows what.
Yeah, well, look at Tampa Bay last year. Everyone thought that they might win the Stanley Cup, but they didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
And I think every team in this list, and probably every team in the East, you know, there's one player that if that one player goes down, everything's off. Everything's off.
That's true.
You know, and
look what happened in Montreal. Carey Price went down a couple of years ago.
Yep. Boom.
They're over.
And you know, in Tampa, you know, you get Stamkos. You know,
it's huge. It's a huge
down
loss.
he goes, and boom. It's really something.
It's amazing how much one player can affect a team, but it's true.
And no prediction can look ahead and see those kinds of things.
Yep.
So, if everyone stays healthy,
I had in my prediction video, I picked Edmonton to go all the way. What if Connor McDavid gets injured 2 games into the season, is out for the season?
Yeah.
My prediction shot. Could happen.
Cashin will pick up the slack.
Oh, Cassian. Yeah.
Anyway.
Not likely.
So, I'll do the Pacific first, just like you did.
Okay, sounds good.
And we'll go from bottom to top. Obviously, the Las Vegas Golden Knights did not have a team last year, so they had 0 points. So anything is an up, right, from last year. This year, I predict they will finish last. They have some great pluses, Marc-Andre Fleury being one of them, Gerard Gallant being in coaching being another one.
Yep.
They've got some question marks. David Clarkson still has an injured back. We've got Grabowski with a concussion still. I don't think that's totally resolved yet. But you've got Gusev and Marchessault and Stéphane Matteau and James Neal, David Perron.
Yeah, there is lots of
Shipachev. You know, you've got some really good players.
There's lots to build around.
That can gel together, perhaps chemically, and see what happens. But still, I think that they only have $5.6 million left of cap space. So they've got a big salary pool, but I don't think the talent pool they're getting for that salary matches up.
I agree.
And I think the team has been designed that way. The team has been designed for the future, not for this coming season. So I'm giving them a total of 60 points this year.
60 points.
60 points.
Still better than Colorado last year.
Exactly. Better than an established team like Colorado last year. So that's where I have the Knights. Okay. I hope they do better. I really do. For Gerard Gallant, more than anything.
It honestly would be nice to see an expansion team do so well out of the gate.
Yeah.
But it's never happened.
It hasn't. And when I saw the expansion draft that night, you know, when it was done, I thought, this could go somewhere. You know, this team could actually maybe back their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, of course, McPhee went and piddled it all away all around the league and got rid of a lot of the guys that he acquired. No. Next is Vancouver. The Vancouver Canucks, I think, will be better than last year. Last year, they only had 69 points. I put them in at 85 this year. Okay. So, you know, I think they will be markedly better, but still probably not good enough or not where they need to be.
Yeah, that's basically how I felt.
Yeah. You know, they've got Bo Horvat is now locked in, which is good. He's a very important player. They got Upshaw in for a professional tryout. We'll see if he manages to stick with the team. Granlund still has a wrist problem. He's in rehab. He may be a while getting back. We've got Vanek is in now for a year.
Yeah, they just on the 1st, I think they signed him.
Yeah, they just signed Vanek, and you know he's disappointed. When Montreal signed him, I was all excited, and then I was eventually quite disappointed. You know, he has these flashes of amazing skill, and then several games of no flash. So we'll see. But you know, they've got a lot of elements there in the team, and they've got some new arrivals. In addition to Vanek, they have Burmistrov, they got Weirkoch, they got Del Zotto. You know, they're bringing Sam Gagner. They're bringing a lot of new blood into the team, and they have some.
They're trying.
Yeah, they're trying. Like they're trying to do better, and they will do better. The question is, will they do well enough? So we'll see.
It's going to be interesting if the seedings actually go away, which they say they don't want to, and I'm sure Vancouver fans don't want them to.
No.
But if they do go away, you take that salary. I don't know how much they're getting paid, like $8 million or $9 million each. Take that away. Look at all the cap space you have to do some magic.
Yeah.
Could be interesting.
Right now they only have $2 million cap space
Yeah.
for the season as it starts, but that'll all change. The goalie wholesale change is the big unknown for me. Miller's gone.
They got Markstrom.
Lucas Sabisa was picked up in the expansion draft, but yeah, they got Markstrom now. They're paying him $3.6 million, and they've also got Anders Nielsen. They're paying him $2.5, so that's a pretty highly paid backup. So it might be a tandem situation there, but we'll see how that works. I don't know if that goalie situation is better than it was last year.
Well, I don't know how much of the game you watched the other night, but Markstrom was remarkable.
I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I did see quite a bit of the game. Yeah.
I'm excited to watch him. See how Vancouver does. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course Vancouver ended up winning that game, the first exhibition game in overtime.
It was a great game.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. Yeah. So there's some bad screw ups and mistakes and things, but actually that makes for more fun hockey to watch because you see things like breakaways that you normally wouldn't see maybe. Alrighty, next on my list, third worst, if you want to look at it one way, is the San Jose Sharks. Neil, you had San Jose losing some ground by a couple of points. You had them down to 97. I have them falling even further. I have them falling to 90 points
Very possible.
This coming season. I'm not a fan of Peter DeBoer as a coach, and I don't know why. I don't have a good reason for that. Yeah, I
really like him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, and I don't. Again, I have no scientific reason for that feeling.
Well, it's just like me with Dustin Brown. I don't know why I don't like the guy. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm just not inspired by him, and I don't know. He doesn't seem to have a lot of emotion on the bench. He seems to be very Spock-like, He's just, he's just kind of very neutral. And I want someone who's got some fire in their belly. But San Jose has a lot of pluses still. They got Brent Burns. He was plus 19 last year. They got Pavelski. Marlowe's gone to Toronto, but they got Couture, Tierney, Paul Martin, Vlasic.
Jones in net.
Yep, Jonas in net. They lost Marlowe to Toronto, and Schlemko went in the draft and ended up with Montreal. We'll see how he does.
Yeah, they have a few guys who could, if they have a good, if Hurdle has a good season, if Michael Bodker has a bounce back season, you never know. But
you never know, and I still think they're clearly in the conversation to still make the playoffs. But where I have them at 90 points right now in my math, they don't make the playoffs.
That's exactly what happened with my prediction. Had them just outside the playoffs.
Yeah. Alrighty, next, the LA Kings. I have them up to 90 points this time, which is a marginal increase from last time. Still not enough to get it done. They have a new coach and GM, John Stevens. He's another coach that I'm not sure how I feel about.
I don't really know a lot of information about him.
I don't either. I've watched games where he's coached his previous teams, and similar to how I feel about DeBoer, I don't see a lot of proactive coaching going on rather than just standing around. And again, coaching is a lot more than just behind the bench on game night. Yeah. Coaching is the workouts, and coaching is the dressing room, and all the things we don't see. I understand that.
Everyone has their own style.
Yep. Now we get Rob Blake in there too.
Big addition.
So I think that is the bigger plus for LA, is having Rob Blake around. They got Brooks Lake. Brandon Prust is joining on professional tryouts.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They signed him to a professional tryout just for a few weeks, so we'll see if he sticks around. And he's been trying really hard to stay in the league because he went to Europe, I think, last year, which would be his second choice of things to do because he didn't get the offer. But I'm really glad LA is giving him a chance, and I hope he ends up sticking with the team.
Yeah,
I think that'd be great. And LA has a lot to cheer for. Carter, Toffoli, Dustin Brown, Doughty, Kopitar. I know Kopitar is one of your favorite players.
It's kind of like Chicago.
Yeah.
You can have these few pieces, big names that kind of go out, but you still have a list of just incredible players that could get it done.
Yeah, and one of them is still in net, Jonathan Quick. He's sticking around. He's got a ring, and he's the guy, and he's still good enough to be the man. Yeah. And Kemper's not bad, as a backup. So.
No, Quick has a bit of an attitude problem, but he's a remarkable goalie.
And they got Mike Camilleri.
For $1 million,
I think that is a great deal.
It's perfect.
He's a very good player, especially if they can get to the playoffs, because he could do amazing things. We saw that.
He's a playoff performer.
Yeah. Third place in the West would be Arizona. I have them a little higher, I think, than Neil had them. See,
I'm excited that you've.
Oh no, I guess I have them a little bit lower, but I have them much better.
I'm excited that you have them improving as much as.
Yeah, I have them up to 93 points. You have them up even more, but.
Because, like you said at the beginning, we did this independently. We had no communication during this process. So.
Yeah. But they have $18 million left to spend if they want to spend it.
Do they really?
$18 million in cap space. So, there's more work that can be done there. And they've already done some. right? They've already done some. So
if they get into the position where they can make a playoff push near trade deadline, that could be really interesting to watch Arizona.
Yeah, yeah. So they've lost Smith to Calgary. Doan's retired. Verbat has gone to Florida, free agency. Burmistrov went to Vancouver, free agency. So the team has been pared down a bit. But they have some good assets. They've got Max Domi, they got Boland, they got Ekman Larson, they got Goligoski. New is Stepan and Antti Ranta, of course, coming from in from the Rangers. And Chalmerson.
Yarmelson?
No, it's not Yarmelson. It's like a CH. It says HJAL, but it's CH, so it's Chalmerson.
I think it's Yarmelson.
Okay. In the comments, we'll find out, because all the experts are going to be commenting. Yeah. It is Chalmerson, actually. I'm just having trouble saying it. And they've got Anthony Duclair they've picked up for a year as an RFA.
They have a lot of pieces that, if they mesh well, things could happen.
Things could happen.
That's why I predicted them as a big improvement. I really think that Arizona, for the first time in franchise history, is really going to turn around.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a... And your laptop agrees.
My laptop agrees, yeah.
Next is Calgary. I have Calgary marginally improving from last year, maybe a point or two in the standings, but I think they're going to do, really well enough to make some noise in the playoffs this year. And I'll get to my prediction shortly, but I think they face the Ducks again, and this time I think they beat them. So in the first round.
Extremely bold prediction.
Stand by.
Extremely.
Call your bookie. Sean Monahan, Backlund, Gaudreau, Frolik, Versteeg, Hamilton, Tkachuk. These are some really excellent players hitting the primes of their careers, and I think that's good news for Calgary.
Yeah, we watched Tkachuk last year. I mean, he was the pest of the West,
and
he annoyed so many players.
Yeah,
if he can just bring it down just a little tiny bit, so he's not over the edge. Man, he's going to be such an asset for Calgary. He already is.
Yeah.
And it was his rookie year last year.
Yep.
He's like 19 or something like that. Like, it's going to be really exciting to watch Calgary.
Yeah. Goaltending's a bit of a question mark because there's been some changes there with Flack coming in and Smith. But I think that's, I'd go to war with those guys.
Yeah, totally.
So I think that'd be good. Hamonick's in now.
Mike Smith's one of the best puck-handling goalies in the league. We saw what he did last year at the All-Star game.
Yep.
He scored a goal through a little hole from the other end of the ice. So man,
pretty good.
Give him the puck, let him make some passes.
Pretty good.
Because we saw that in the OT. I don't know if did you watch the OT of the game the other night between Vancouver and LA?
I didn't see it live, but I saw the goal.
Teams are doing this. This is kind of off topic or off track here, but
teams
are utilizing their goalies in overtime more now. They're, if they'll go in, and then they have two decisions to make. One decision is to go against the boards, hold the puck so the line mates can change, and likely lose the puck. It's just a matter of time. The other option, which they're starting to do, is to pass the puck all the way back to their goalie, which gives the line mates time to change and also time for them to get back and change with three new guys, and the goalie starts the breakout. And that's exactly what happened in the overtime.
Yeah.
He passed the puck up, then he went in and scored. So it's you might see that a lot more in the overtime this coming year. I saw some teams practicing it in their preseason skates and stuff. So.
It's exciting stuff. And I didn't think I liked the whole 3-on-3 thing, but how they've decided to play it now. It's not just regular 3-on-3 like it would have been with 2 double penalties on both sides back 20 years ago. It's a totally different philosophy of how to play. It's all about puck possession. Possession is more important than anything else. And if you give up possession, it's curtains.
Well, it feels weird watching it because it messes with your mind because they'll go into the zone and then they'll circle out of the zone, leaving their 2 guys in the zone, and they'll have to come back out. And sometimes they do it 3 or 4 times until it's strange hockey to watch, but it's exciting.
Yeah, and that's it's the possession game, and that's how you got to play that. If you can skate out of the zone and get away from the other guys, and you won't have to give up the puck, then that's job one. Is possession, and it's kind of fun. Alrighty, next in the West and finishing in second place in the Pacific Conference is Anaheim. I have the Ducks still doing well, but falling back from where they were before. They had 105 points last season. I predict them down to 100.
Okay, I guess we disagree there a little bit. But.
Yep. You have them up a little bit, and I have them down a little bit. We still got some injury issues going on, and I think they're going to have a slow start. They might have a strong finish, but. They've got Patrick Eaves. His ankle is now okay, and he's going to start camp, but I don't think there's full confidence there that he'll be 100%. And the same thing with Lindholm, has a shoulder problem. He's skating now, but he's not. I don't think he's in full contact
Those
yet.
injuries take time, so it's risky.
And we've got Vatanen as well. He's got another shoulder problem. He's on the ice, but, so they might have, some call-ups, maybe starting with if these vets can't perform right away. But, they've got obviously some great talent there.
Getzlaf, Perry,
Getzlaf, Perry, yeah.
Fowler.
Cogliano, Bieksa. Well, Bieksa, talent. But
did you just say talent and Bieksa in the same sentence?
I did, but a guy you hate to play against, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's...
Totally.
I guess, yeah. Sorry. They've signed Boschman, for $1 million, and I think that's a pretty good deal.
That's an alright deal.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good deal. So we'll see what happens in goal. There's some options there. There's
we got Gibson, who's going to be the starter. Ryan Miller probably going to be the backup. They might split games.
Yeah.
Then you have Red O'Bara, who's the third string backup. So
I
think they signed him for $700K.
Yep.
That's a pretty respectable signing.
It is. Yeah.
Anaheim's good.
Yep. Yeah, they're good there.
In net.
They're good in net for sure.
Yep.
I also have at 100 points, so we're really tied with Anaheim for first place. I have the Edmonton Oilers.
Ooh.
And I see them slightly first overall, mainly just maybe one extra regulation win instead of a shootout win or something, But I have them both at 100 points.
Okay.
Slepyshev still recovering from his off-season ankle injury, so he might not be depended on early on. But they've got players that are hard to play against. Players that I really don't like. Gryba, for instance. Lucic, Maroon, Cassian, as you would say. But they've got, the guys that they've been waiting for to get caught up, and they started last year, and they did great last year. Your McDavids and Draisaitl and...
even Nugent Hopkins had a pretty respectable year last year.
RNH did well. They got UC Jokinen now. Desharnais gone to the Rangers. That was just a rental thing anyway.
Yeah, he did work out fairly okay there. But.
Yeah, he fit in okay and made a little noise in the playoffs as well. Good for them. But I just think that overall in both the Pacific and the Central, which I'm going to get to here in a minute, that the division is going to be more competitive from first to last. Like you won't see teams with a huge number of points and teams with hardly any points, like 48. Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot more competitiveness. It makes it harder for us to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, a couple of points swing either way, and all these matchups all change, right?
Yeah.
Last year, the total number of points given in the Pacific for all teams that they won was 626 points. So you had everybody's points together, you got 626. This year, of course, you got an extra team. So there's going to be north of 700 points probably. And Vegas will get some of those, or maybe most of that extra. The average points per team last year was 89.5. So that's if you took the highest and averaged all the teams out. The standard deviation was about 15 on that. So, you had your brackets, your upper and your lower. This year, I think that shrinks a little bit. I think the overall average goes up just a touch. And I think Vegas, at 60 points, will enable that overall sweep to be shorter because they're not going to stink out and get 48 like Colorado did last year. So, I think, again, with these some of the games are 3-point games and some are 2-point games. I did some calculations. The most points in the league that can be awarded, let's say every game was a 3-point game. Every game went to an overtime or shootout. And half the teams in the league won all those games, and the other half of the teams in the league lost all those games. Okay. The most points a team could have would be 164 if they won every game.
That's a little less than I thought it would be.
Yeah, actually. Well, see, it's 82 games, you get 2 points, so you can't get any.
I guess I should, I don't know why I thought.
So it's 164. Now, under that situation where every team gets at least 1 point, the losing teams, the lowest they can get is 84 points. The median there would be 123. I mean, if you had a situation like that, the average number of points per team would be 123. So that's how crazy it can be. On the other hand, if no games went to an overtime or shootout, every single game ended in regulation. All 82 games for all 31 teams ended in regulation. The maximum would still be 164.
Yep.
The minimum would be down to 0.
Yeah, from 82 to 0.
Exactly. So the median becomes 82. So those are the statistical extremes of points. So how can anyone really guess what's going to happen?
It's hard.
That's why I went through that business right now, just because.
And I did that too. Like you'll see in a lot of my predictions, I've jumped sum in points. There's not a lot of subtraction. There's more jumping due to the extra team.
Yeah.
I didn't explain that in my video, but that was my reasoning.
Now, if every game was a 2-point game, either a 1-1 tie or a 2-0, point award for a win, then you'd know exactly in the West there's going to be X amount of points awarded for all these games. And you can just divvy them up amongst the teams, and you could actually have probably a better chance at predicting.
Yeah.
But now the question is unanswered still. So
it is.
So in the West, I have, or in the West Pacific component of the Western Conference, I have Anaheim, Calgary, and Edmonton making the playoffs because I think that no wild card teams will come from the Pacific.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll go to the Central. So the Central, the Central is I think this, well, obviously of the two divisions in the West, is by far the strongest.
You think Central's going to be more stronger than the Pacific? I guess based on your wild card predictions that both wild cards will come from the Central.
Barely, but yeah, both will come from the Central. So they'll have 5 teams going in to the 8-team playoff, and just things work out. Alrighty, so let's talk about the teams themselves. Colorado Avalanche. They had 48 points last season. I'm putting them at 60 this season.
Where did I have them?
You had them
64.
64.
Close.
Yeah, pretty close. So I'm giving them 60 points. I think they are going to do better because you can't get much worse.
You really can't.
When your plus-minus leader for the team is Sven Andrighetto last year, with a +1.
Well, you can't really say that because he got traded just before the...
But it just shows you how dim...
Oh, well, yeah.
Like how dim things were statistically. It just can't be that bad again. Even if you don't try, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, how long will Duchesne be around? You covered that off in your prediction. I won't spend too much more time on it. You got some shining lights, particularly Nathan McKinnon, and I think you can build a team around him. You do have to hang on to him, and you have to, treat him like the gift that he is, but you got to give him some help. I think they've gone in that direction, but not far enough just yet.
Not even close.
Varlamov is starting to get healthy again. He had a groin injury, which was quite debilitating, and that probably is responsible for some of the downturn for Colorado last year. They didn't have much in net.
Yeah, they put a lot of pressure on guys who shouldn't have had a lot of pressure in net. So it was probably stressful. And
yeah, another good Bernier in from Anaheim.
I think that's a great addition. Bernier had a great year last year in Anaheim. So
yeah, so that's good. And again, Yakupov, this could be finally the solution for Yakupov.
We complain about him so much, but he has the potential to be a great player.
Yeah,
it's just, is he going to be a great player? Will he find his fit in Colorado? I honestly hope he does.
I do too.
But
I do too.
Do I think he will? No.
No, it doesn't look good. Alrighty, next I have Dallas. And
what?
Yes, I do. I have Dallas, but not because they're only slightly better than Colorado. I think they're a lot better than Colorado. I have the second worst teams in the Central Division. I have a 3-way tie with 95 points, and 2 of those teams make the playoffs.
Wow.
So that's why, when I say Dallas and you're like, what? I have Dallas going from 79 points to 95 points. Now, you had them going a little farther. You had them going to 98. So I'm only 3 points short of you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, you're okay now?
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
I think Dallas is going to make great strides for all the reasons you said in your video, which preceded this one. So I probably don't want to repeat everything you said. Tyler Seguin's getting healthy again, which is a good thing. Ken Hitchcock came in April. I like Ken Hitchcock as a coach. He's an active coach. He's got tremendous experience, and I think that'll be very, very helpful in Dallas. And once he gets a full season under him, unfortunately, Lindy Ruff didn't work out. It seems to be his MO. Try Lindy Ruff, and maybe he can light a fire for a while, but then usually the fire doesn't last very long. So. Jamie Benn, Spezza, you've got some good things happening in Dallas. Now, you've got some players that are on the mend still. You got Pitlick with a knee. You've got McKenzie with an eye problem. You've got Dowling, who's still recovering from a concussion. So everything's not perfect yet. But you got Brett Ritchie, you got Klingberg. They got Alexiak with a 1-year deal, who's, I think that's a good deal. Lettinen and Bishop will be kind of fighting for the goalie duties.
I don't know if there's going to be much fighting going on. I think Bishop's going to take the reins.
He probably will, but I think Lettinen will have something to say about it, or try to. Yeah. They've got Mathot now, Radulov, as you said, Hansel. Hemsky's gone to Montreal. We'll see how he makes out. And Sharp is gone. And Niemi's gone, obviously. There's some ups and downs, but I think way more ups for Dallas.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch Dallas.
And I think they will make the playoffs.
You think they will make the playoffs?
I do. I think I do. I have them in.
I don't think that works out statistically, does it?
Well, I put them in the. There's a three-way tie of 95 points. I just mentioned them first, although they're not. They're not the team that's not going to make the playoffs. They actually are going to make the playoffs in my world.
Oh, okay, so
I'll get to that. The team that won't make the playoffs with 95 points. And the team I should have read first. It's the Minnesota Wild.
Okay.
Sorry about that. They had 106 points, I think it was, last year. And this year, they're down, I think, in my view, to 95. And I think they will lose in a tiebreaker for that final wild card spot. I don't think they're in. I have no science for that, but, you know.
Neither do I. And I just had them the same place. I had like 93, basically the same spot.
Yeah.
Just don't have a good feeling about Minnesota. And I should, like, they're trending up, but...
you know, and I'm looking at the, you know, the team they've got. There's nothing wrong with their team. It's, you know, they've got talent there. They could be a 100-point team, and they could be in the playoffs, and they could do damage. So this is right on the edge of in or out.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to depend on how well Dubnyk plays.
Yep.
He faltered a bit in the playoffs last year,
Now, Marcus Foligno's not yet signed, I don't think, for this new season, or at least when I did my research, he wasn't.
Because I got him from Buffalo.
Yeah.
As well as Tyler Ennis.
Yeah. And... they got Matt Cullen, they got Kyle Quincy, so they got some new. Now Pominville's gone to Buffalo, back to Buffalo. You know, so the team has changed chemically a little bit. You know, the Vanek experiment didn't work out, and he's now with Vancouver, although that's not just too recent. But I just don't see it. I don't see enough big happening in Minnesota that will keep them to the degree they had such a good run in the regular season last year. I don't see it this year.
All right, next up.
The 95-point team that will also make the wild card is, I think, Winnipeg.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, Winnipeg, Paul Maurice is the coach. He's got an extension, just signed last week. You know, they like what he's doing with the team. They've got a bit of cap space left, $7.3 million, so they can still get some more assets. Toby Enstrom has been cleared for training camp, so we'll see him. Tyler Myers has a low back injury that is a nagging thing, a chronic thing, but he's healthy, so we'll see if he stays healthy. Hellebuck's in there, $2.5 million for a year. Laine, Scheifele, Wheeler, Ehlers, Bufflin. You know, there's a lot of talent there.
On paper, it looks pretty good.
It does, and these are exciting players to watch.
Totally. I love watching Winnipeg, especially when they play in Winnipeg.
Yeah. And now they got Matt Hendricks, and they've got Kulikov from Buffalo. They've got Steve Mason in that now from Philly.
That's the only question mark for me.
Yeah.
How is Steve Mason going to do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Yeah. Pavlik's gone. Is this an upgrade or a downgrade from when they had Pavlik? Because Pavlik was hot and cold, right?
Upgrade.
Yeah. He was quite cold.
Still an upgrade. I just thought they were going to make a play for Ranta or Darling or someone.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I think they're in the playoffs, and I'll tell you shortly where I think they go with the playoff run this first time. St. Louis is next with 96 points, down a little bit from before. They had 99 points. So I think they're up a bit. I think St. Louis is continuing to be, you know, the Cinderella team in the regular season, and I wish they would do better in the playoffs. I have a prediction that says they probably won't again, unfortunately, but I really hope I'm wrong with that one. I think it's pretty well a similar group to what they had before, with the exception, of course, is they lost, or not lost, but Shattenkirk went to Washington.
Right.
But for the most part, I think the core of the team is the same core that they had before.
Yeah, not a whole lot of changes.
Yeah. Yakupov's gone, Malone's gone, Ratty's gone, Landon Ferraro's gone. They've still got Jake Allen, though. And they've brought in some stuff. They've got Braden Shen, they've Bo Bennett, Prosser's in.
Yeah, they locked Parayko down.
Parayko and Bo Meester's still there. So, you know, I think it's still a really good team. So they'll get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we'll see if they do their regular playoff performance after that. Tied for the lead in the Central Division, I have Chicago and Nashville. I have them both with 100 points.
Wow.
I have them both with 100 points. And for Chicago, that's a downgrade from before. They had 109 before. I see them falling off, not for different reasons than you said. You know, you bring some older players back. Patrick Sharp.
Sharp and Sod.
Yeah.
And you ship out Panarin, Yarmelson,
Chalmerson,
Van Riemsdyk, Kruger, Campbell, Darling, and Hossa.
Yeah.
It's a huge change.
It is a big change. And like you said, and you're quite right, for the most part, the core is still there, but Panarin gone to Columbus. I think that's
I still can't believe that.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, I think
and that's really the main reason I think they're going to win a few fewer games this time, and they're going to land around 100 points.
That's basically what my prediction was. Had them at 102. So.
Okay, well, you're only 2 off.
Last team on your list.
Nashville Predators. I just love what they did last year. I don't think they can two-peat that this year, to the same degree. They're going to do better in the regular season, which will be maybe 6 points or so more than they had last year, because they just snuck into the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they were the 8th seed.
Yeah, 94 points. They barely made it. In fact, 94 points this coming season won't be enough in my world to even make the playoffs. But I think they'll come in with 100. And I think this division will tighten as well, just like the Pacific would. There's the top and the bottom will be not as far apart as they were last year. Nashville has, that beautiful core of players that's still there from last year's amazing playoff run. But Ryan Ellis, who was plus 17 last year, he's got a bad knee, and he's going to miss maybe the first half of the season. He's a key player there, and he's not going to be back for the beginning, and I think they might have a slow start.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
they need to get over that loss in the playoffs too. It's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back.
Yeah, like there's 2 ways they could use that as motivation and hate,
And some teams do, and some teams just don't.
And some teams they get so close, and it's like, oh, we'll never get this close again.
Yeah.
Why bother? And I think Johansson's still a question mark. With that thigh injury, he's making a lot of money. I'm not so sure that that's something that was been fixed for good. It's a nagging thing.
Yeah.
And I think that might come back. I hope it doesn't.
I
hope it doesn't. But your goaltending is great. You got Saros and Rinne. You're a big fan of Saros, and Rinne's a great goalie. And they've got Alexei Emelin now, and he can put the hip into the onrushing offensive forwards from the other team and plaster them up against the glass, or the half wall, as some people call it.
Yeah.
Hartnell's there. He's another guy that
they've got lots of guys
hard to play against. Now, Mike Fisher's retired, James Neal's gone, but for the most part, I think it's a good, solid core of a team, and I think they will finish seeded in first place in the Central.
All right.
So, what does that mean for the playoffs? With the point totals that I've laid out, I see Anaheim playing Calgary in the first round, and Calgary winning that.
Ooh.
Maybe 6 or 7 games, but Calgary's going to finally break the curse of losing every game.
They know they have to break the curse. They have to do it at least one more time as well.
They have to do it at least once.
They only have 3 home games.
Yeah.
Because you have them seated lower than Anaheim.
Yeah.
So they have to do it at least once in Anaheim.
Exactly. They have to. And it would have to be Game 7. But I think they can. I think they can.
I don't think they can. It's like 26 or 29 times or something like that. But they can't win in Anaheim.
Yeah, but what happened last week has no bearing on what's going to happen next week.
That's what I said before last playoffs, and look what happened.
All right. I have Edmonton playing Dallas in the first round, and I have Edmonton winning that series. Okay. I have St. Louis and Chicago playing in the first round, and I have St. Louis winning that series.
Good.
Yeah, I do. I think Chicago's best years are behind them, even with that solid core they've got. For the same reason we just talked about, bringing some old guys back more for sentimental reasons, I think, than anything else. You can't turn a 2006 team, recreate it with old people. You just can't do it. And then I have Winnipeg playing Nashville. I think Winnipeg goes out in the first round there. I think Nashville is overwhelming for that first round.
Okay.
So now we're down to the final 4. In the West, I have Calgary and Edmonton playing in the Battle of Alberta.
That would be good.
I'm dying for this.
It almost happened last year.
Yes, and I'm dying for this to happen.
Yeah.
And I think Edmonton wins that probably in 5 or 6 games. I think Edmonton's going to overpower Calgary there, but good for Calgary to make it to the second round after beating Anaheim. I think if they beat Anaheim, they'll have nothing left.
Yeah.
And that's,
you're probably right. No.
Yeah. And in the other side, I have St. Louis and Nashville playing, and I think Nashville's going to be overwhelming there. I think St. Louis is going to do what they always do, and they're going to bow out.
Okay.
And then that sets up a Nashville-Edmonton final for the Western Conference. And I think Edmonton, like you, I pick Edmonton to be the team out of the Western Conference to go to the Stanley Cup Finals.
We both picked Edmonton.
We did.
To come out of the West. Interesting. It was kind of a safe bet as well. It wasn't very risky for us to choose Edmonton.
No.
I think a lot of people choose Edmonton to come out of the West. So.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty safe choice.
Yeah.
I think they're a fantastic team, and young and hungry. New barn, huge, passionate fan base. I think this has to be the year that they come out and do some damage.
Yep, me too. Well, that wraps it up.
It was long. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Good discussions. The East is coming. I'll have my own version. You'll have your own version.
Yep.
Not sure when those videos are going to come. Maybe we'll film them next weekend.
Yeah.
And they'll come out the week after, something like that. But keep an eye out for them. If you're new to this channel, hope you can hit the subscribe button and join us for all kinds of hockey content. And if you like this video, hit the like button and leave your predictions down below in the comments. We'll see you later. Adios.